Hi. Um, it is October 31st, 2022, and Elon Musk has officially purchased Twitter, one of the biggest social media accounts out there. And it's a huge deal, right? It's a huge deal. We can definitely see stuff that's been shifting. And with everything that's going on, I wanted to take a look at Elon Musk's birth chart because that's going to tell us a lot about if he is one of those good guys or if he's one of those bad guys. So, by good guy, I would define a person that is progressive, that is pro freedom, where it to a certain extent, where people are allowed to be free in things that give growth and love and prosperity, and not allowed to be free in things that would hurt or harm others, right? There's black and white. It's not like there's certain stuff that we want to be free about, and others that would not be so great to be free about. And so pro rights, evolutionary, like future oriented, and a bad person would be like a Kim Jong Un, like a dictator type of situation, um, that censors and wants everything to stay in a certain norm and does not value the soul and the wellness of the soul and happiness, right? So good will value the soul and bad will not value the soul and human happiness and a state of love being. Now that being defined, let me talk a little bit about like my experience with Elon Musk because I don't know a lot about the guy, so I'm probably gonna have a lot of people telling me like, "Oh my God, but what about this?" I don't know a lot, so if you know stuff that I don't mention, please share. And the first time I really like heard about Elon Musk was about 4 years ago, maybe. He came up in a Joe Rogan podcast. So my first impression of this man was like this dude who owns the electric car company, which is pretty cool. And he's like lighting a joint in the show. And then he's talking about like building a tunnel through California so there's less traffic. And I was pro Ellen when I saw that. Then when I saw about the flamethrowers and the artificial intelligence, I did get a little bit scared because I don't want robots with flamethrowers ruling over humanity. I mean, that's a little bit too much for me to to be able to accept. And oh my God, like a Terminator type of scenario, like that scares me. So I did not like that part. I don't like the like artificial intelligence taking over humanity part. I would I am open to the idea of living amongst artificial intelligence if it's a positive thing and there's no artificial intelligence dictator like punishing humanity, please. So there's it's not black and white, right? There's gray. It would be cool, like definitely accept technology and evolution. Just I don't want a robot dictator. I don't want any sort of dictators. No dictators, never. And and then there was a lot of like politics, right? Because you never know what what you're reading, if it's true or if it's like inclined. So they were saying stuff like he's associated with Trump, which I'm not. I don't like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So there's like I have like a neutral opinion. Like I love that he has the electric cars and the free speech type of movement he stands for. But I think, yeah, no, because now, all right. And then I've also heard that he's really strict in his company. Like people in Tesla would be complaining about the strict rules and about having people have to come into work through COVID. I did not like that either. I thought that was dictator like. So that's not what we like. And let me go ahead and find his birth chart here. I already started Googling it. So if we go to most official Astro Data Bank, maintained by Astro, the most official source of astrology, we don't have his birth time and there's no houses. So that makes for a not precise reading. It's harder to read a chart if we don't have the houses. So I want to go in and Google it, which I already started. Oh, is this looking at my screen or are you just... All right, now you can see my screen. We're gonna do first the Astro Data Bank chart, which has no birth time, and then we're gonna go into this chart in Astro Theme, which has a birth time that apparently they got from the astrologer Pavitra Jyotish on his website, which is Pavitra, and Jyotish is astrology in Hindu. And we're gonna use this birth time that he found to make the next to talk about him. If somebody knows Elon Musk, can you ask him for his birth time, please? And or Ms. May Musk, whose book I want to read. And all right, so here is his birth chart. He was apparently born at 28th June 1971. His sun sign is Cancer, which we see here. There's this little circle with another circle. That's the sun. And this is Mercury, Venus, Saturn, the Moon, Pluto, Uranus, Jupiter, Neptune, the North Node in Gemini, beautiful, and Mars in Gemini as well. All right. So first with the Cancer personality and Mercury there, we would say that he's a person who can sense emotions. He's very empathetic. He can tune in in a telepathic way to others. When the sun is so close to Mercury, we get a person that speaks and then thinks. And whatever they say, yeah, does not go through very many filters. It just immediately it is said immediately. And here you get a lot of people who like to be funny. They do a lot of jokes. They're very smart. They're very, very smart. Like as just as fast as they can crack a joke, they understand concepts. So these are people who think and realize what they're thinking and process their thoughts very fast. And since it's in Cancer, I can assume that he can also process what other people are going through. So he will be able to see someone or just tune into someone's energy and process their thoughts as well, and or emotions. Here I can also see that he has a moon in Virgo, square to Jupiter in Scorpio, and Uranus in Scorpio too. No, sorry, Neptune in Scorpio too, both retrograde. And the other square of the moon in the Venus in Gemini. So here we can see somehow like what he liked when he was a kid, and what his ideas of like expansion were limited by his mom's racing patterns. And here in Virgo, we're seeing a mom who was very strict, who was very orderly, clean, and well, clean and order oriented. So things had to be clean. The dishes had to be clean. The kitchen had to be clean. The food, she would be like the general of the kitchen and make sure that when the food was being served, it was like perfect. Like every single carrot was cut into the same size squares, and there was this perfection around the house. And this is beautiful because having a mom who cares that much is incredible, and being able to grow up like eating super healthy food and being looked after and being made sure that you're always like cut clean is really nice. Like not everybody has that mom that cares to that extent, or that is able to care and put the effort into making things that perfect. Because reaching that level of perfection takes so much discipline and so much effort. And the mom and Virgo moons moms, like the moms that are usually behind Virgo moons, will make it seem like it's effortless and it's natural, and like everybody like should be doing this, like waking up at 4:30 in the morning to make sure that everything's perfect. So in breakfast, there's like this buffet of food out there on the table, and detail oriented, right? Like a lot of detail oriented. So this perfection could have sometimes squared, that's the square we're looking at, would square the progress and would square like the real emotion behind things, because sometimes you don't want stuff to be perfect. You just want to like run around the couch, step on the couch every now and then because you're having a pillow fight, like freaking eat ice cream and maybe spill some chocolate. I mean, yes, it stings, but what's worse, the stain or ruining a beautiful Sunday with a scream? So like it taught probably Ellen in time to be perfect himself, right? And to show up and to have stuff that's clean. And he now probably needs this hygiene and really clean and perfection and military, like it's 5 minutes late does matter type of energy. In my opinion, it doesn't, because you don't want perfection to ruin progress. And that's something I say all the time, because getting like you can get stuck in making details perfect, but in the big area, like in the big, well, I guess if you're building rockets, I'm not gonna like, I'm not gonna, and cars, right, that can light on fire if you don't do it perfectly. I'm not gonna say not to be perfect, but his perfection and his detail, like the amount of attention he puts into every detail, is probably very relevant to the point he has, and it's probably necessary to get him where he is right now. And yeah, so that cleanliness and that attention to detail comes from his mother, and is it's natural to him. It's his emotional needs are basically for hygiene and like acts of service. So he would, for the person he loves, he would probably like cook for her, right? One of these perfect meals, or do something that's like nature, because it would be something like experience, like material oriented, like go on maybe go on a like field trip, or take her on like a hike somewhere that there's a lot of trees and stuff. But and services, acts of service, sorry, going back, like doing acts of service, like being there for the person. And he would also enjoy somebody who's there for him and does of service for him. So it's squaring his ideas, because he probably sometimes has like very great ideas, like in the spur of the moment ideas, and then going through the process, the system of getting the idea done is a little bit stressing, because he wants it to be so perfect that then it gives him like a tummy ache, or like a moment, like I want this to, like he's like working on something, like on a new idea, and then he doesn't get it perfect, so he might like feel frustration. And that's that moon in Virgo square. Sorry, I'm pointing it with my finger. I should be pointing it with the mouse. So and this feeling is what we get when Venus is square the moon, right? Because if we have an emotional need for perfection, that's squaring, so making like a tense aspect to what we like in our ideas. It's like, here's like us wanting to carry out an idea, and then being frustrated because we can't see the system from the idea go from beginning to end perfectly. And then that's the Saturn would also be like, so if Gemini is ideas, and Venus is like, yeah, go after your ideas and allow ideas to come for you. Saturn is put those ideas in order, spend the right amount of time in each idea, like have discipline. So that's beautiful that Saturn is so close to Venus as well, because that gives us an idea that he can commit to what he wants. So if he values something and he likes it and he wants it, he's going to commit to it. And that would give us like a strong idea of how he's been able to be part of these amazing innovative companies, because they are innovative. Gemini is very innovative. Gemini is a first air sign, so it talks to us about a very young personality, and a young personality that, oh, this microphone better be recording everything. Yeah, I think it is. And it gives us a young idea, sorry, a young personality, right? Gemini is young, a young personality, and it's like a really like likes learning a bunch of different stuff at the same time. ADD, Gemini kids will often be seen as ADD kids or ADHD hyperactive. ADD just PCs, but Gemini would be like an ADHD kid, a kid who is like thinking about 30 stuff, three things at the same time, and he has the capacity to get up and work on the three things and do it. So that's why you get like these kids running around curious about a bunch of different stuff, because he can listen to you lecture while he goes learn about something else, and sitting in that lecture without doing anything else is just like hell. So whenever you get a Gemini kid, you need to make sure that like you give, like if you need him to sit down for a lecture, then give him something to draw or like a pen and a paper, so at least he can doodle while he's listening. And if like, you see in your kids in class doodling while you're speaking, please don't think that they're not paying attention. They're paying attention, but they need to be using their hands at the same time, because they probably have some Gemini in their chart and they need to let go of the energy. So discipline into that intelligence will create a Tesla or will launch a rocket. You know, it's genius. So you get like the genius of Gemini, the curiosity of a Gemini with the discipline of Saturn. That's pretty cool. Now, the other strong aspect that I'm looking at is Neptune and Jupiter in Scorpio, opposing Saturn. So yeah, so that's like that theme again. All charts usually have some theme, and this is the put the discipline and put the limits around the ideas so that you can actually take them, because that Jupiter is expansive and it's super expansive, especially with Neptune. And with Scorpio, it has a lot of power. Jupiter and Scorpio will be able to expand through energy. So it's like energy control and psychic energy control. Like that's awesome. Square Saturn, it means also an ability to put that energy, because Neptune is also really psychic. So it's an ability to put like psychic energy into the world. In Gemini, it would be like an air, so he's putting it into technology. So there's a huge ability to get the ideas in and materialize the ideas. That's cool. See, and the moon is also squaring, yeah, those ideas. So Jupiter in Scorpio would be very like psychic, like looking into the occult, looking into astrology. That's why we love Scorpio. And and Neptune is the dream world, right? Which is the world of ideas, subtle, which is also the energy world. Like they go very hand in hand. And now the North Node in Aquarius. So Aquarius is all about like libertarian, and not just libertarians, but also like just libertarians. Not maybe not not like yes freedom, maybe not so much libertarian in the sense that they'll allow certain people's freedom get over other people's freedom. That would be bad. But libertarian in the sense that they want people to be free and they want justice in the world. That's Aquarius. Sometimes they can be like they're either Uranus Aquarius, Uranian Aquarius, or Saturnian Aquarius. You need to see that. And this video it's gonna get cut, so I'll continue in a bit. Hold on. Cut. All right. Sorry about that cut. So we were saying about Aquarius. Aquarians are either Uranian types or Saturnian types, which gives us um, always innovation, because just like Gemini, Aquarius is very innovative. It rules technology. Um, the Uranian side of Aquarius would be the most innovative. The Saturnian one would be the most stick to the way it's been done. Yeah, so he's obviously Uranian, I mean. And good. All right. So Uranian Aquarian would give us a lot of innovation and breaking through of barriers. No barriers. Aquarius does not like barriers or limits of any kind. So his Mars in Aquarius with his North Node will tell us that he will break limits, a lot of limits. And and whenever an Aquarian breaks limits, he does it thinking is, in his opinion, for the major good. So when an Aquarian would do something that's eccentric or out of the norm, it's going to be because in his mind he believes that that's the best thing that it can be done for humanity. So when we see his Mars so close to his North Node, it means that he's inclined to go after his life's purpose. And his life's purpose in Aquarius would be related to social justice, um, equality among humankind, technology, evolution, friendship. Friendship is very important here. He probably has lots of friends. And that freedom, friendship, social justice, those are the themes of Aquarius that I want to mention right now. So seeing his Mars there with the North Node, it's cool. It means he's gonna work towards the achievement of this freedom. And that somehow his Mars is also squaring his Jupiter, in Scorpio, so like his psychic powers. And so maybe he's got to be in a war sometimes among what is right at a psychic level and what is true and right, because these two are like humanity lovers. So Aquarius and Scorpio both love humanity, but they love it in a very different ways. Scorpio loves with the heart, Aquarius loves with the mind. So the Aquarius justice is very different than the Scorpio justice. The Scorpio justice will allow for taboo and will allow for a shadow, while the Aquarius might just cut that shadow out, and off with the head of whatever is not right for humanity, which is that's the Saturnian side of Aquarius, and it can be very cold and put unnecessary there. Yeah, so there is where the boundaries of Aquarius come in, because Aquarius will put boundaries by cutting out whatever they're against. Scorpio will be like, that's why you see all the Scorpios like always being accepting of people who have been cast out by society, right? So these Scorpios will be like the people who are working in the jails with the kids and making sure those kids become right. If full on Aquarius would be like, no, that kid is screwed up, you gotta kill him. And Scorpio would be like, no, 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 there's good, there's energy in this soul, like we gotta not like nurture it and love it until it becomes good again, right? So those are the two very controversial points of view, and that's what we see his Jupiter squaring his Mars, right? So he's gonna have this fight of the what's right in a like black and white sort of way, and then also want to welcome the outcasts in a way, because Scorpio will stand for outcasts because they want to see good. They want to see good in everyone, or they see through what happened, right? They understand the motivation behind a person who was once pure and what got the person into the darkness that made them make a wrong choice, and they believe in forgiveness. So, uh, so those would be two hearts of Alan fighting, right? For like he probably has debates in his mind about like where should he draw the line? Like he gets it, but he needs to draw a line in order to reach the goal, and just because a line must be drawn, right? And that's something that a lot of people like have to decide every day. Like, where do we draw our boundaries? So boundaries will be like a big thing there. Like, where are the boundaries? Because we want to trespass the boundaries, but we want to make sure that we're also keeping the majority of people safe when we trespass those boundaries. And so the gray, right? This is a lot about not just black and white, but looking at the gray. Pluto in Virgo tells me about reinventing systems. So like whatever the system or the structure was, it's being reinvented. It's being like torn apart and started over. So that's a theme that he probably sees in his life, where he sees the way things work. He understands them so well that he knows what has to change, and sometimes he might just destroy the whole thing and start over, because Pluto in Virgo will transform systems. Um, Uranus aspecting the sun and Mercury tells me about ideas type like electricity, like when this man flew the kite and he discovered electricity in a way. That's a Uranian moment. The myth that they associate with Uranus is when the character comes and like steals the fire from the gods and gives it to people. So this moment of like enlightenment, so it's sort of like this discovering electricity, right? Like being in the dark and then coming to light. That's Uranus. That's like learning something, a new technology, or something that all of a sudden transform humanity, such as electricity. So big deal. And fire also at the time, like big deal. And now what is it? What's going to be the next fire? What's going to be the next electricity for humanity, right? That's interesting. And so, yeah, so Uranus, the guy who tells us about electricity and fire, is like talking to his sun, so what he clearly sees, and his Uranus, his logical processes that are very empathic. So here you get a person who has a lot of empathy and a lot of logic at the same time. I think that's good. Yeah, I'm like beginning to take sides. All right, now we're gonna go and look at the chart with houses, which will allow us to like look deeper in. So the sun in Cancer in his first house. Yeah, whenever you have the sun and Mercury in the first house, it gives us a person who's transparent. So what he sees and what he says and what he displays is what is going on inside. Like this is a person who, if he's having a bad day, he's frowning and he's not controlling that face. And he might just like let everyone know why he's having a bad day, because since like he thinks after he speaks and he's transparent, then he will overshare. And this is a person who probably overshares a lot, because and a lot about his emotions. He probably, like, to people who are close to him, he probably speaks a lot about his emotions because he's in Cancer. So that's nice. And then Venus in his 12th house in Gemini tells me, yeah, more about that telepathy, right? So this is an intuitive individual who can speak telepathically with people he's in tune with. And or understand the collective, the public, like the public consciousness. How do you say this? Or understand the collective consciousness. He can tap into the collective consciousness because that's in the subtle world where his Venus is. And Cancer is ghost, like it's a water sign. The water will transmit this information from the subtle world into our bodies. Now we see his moon is in the first house, in his third house, so we know that a lot of communication with his mother, and an emotional need to communicate. So he really does have to talk, and he really does have to talk about his emotions. And in order to feel love, he would have to like talk and share jokes with that person. And jokes would be a way to his heart. He would go into the hearts of others using jokes, and he probably joked around with his mom quite a bit. And even though she was like very strict, they were very communicative with one another, so they understood. There was an understanding, and communication became his love language. And it transforms. So there's a lot of transformation through the communication, right? Because Pluto is there too. So he can either transform people with what he says, and be transformed as well by what he hears and what's communicated to him. Yeah, I think Saturn is at a great aspect between his 11 and 12th house, because that gives a lot of like, because there's a really nice balance between the technology and innovation and strive for perfection, and also the intuitive, empathetic, because 12th house is very empathetic as well. So an ability to tap into the collective consciousness, and the discipline to bring into the material world the things that that collective consciousness might need. He always has free will, right? We don't know like what he's gonna want to do. We don't know a lot, but and also like whenever strong emotions are involved, like they need to stay positive, right? Because this same empathy that makes you love people will be the could be the same empathy that makes you grow to hate it, right? It's two sides of the same coin. So a lot of, if he's gonna be good or bad for the world, as the head of Twitter now, um, we're hoping that he's receiving love, right? And he's receiving and giving and living in a state of love, as opposed to like fear and hatred and vengeance. Where's the Mars? Oh, Mars in Aquarius, eighth house. All right, a lot of transformation, a lot of like giving into the dark, occultism sides of life. So interest in astrology probably, and ability to manifest, ability to do magic. Like the eighth house would be house of magic, house of inheritance as well, and in Aquarius is huge. Aquarius is like an abundant sign, so it's a lot. So a lot of psychic energy, an ability to yeah, telepathy, maybe more, right? Who knows? What else are we going to see? Seventh, nothing. Sixth, 10th. Oh, I just noticed something. So the communication also, like the moon is between 2 and 3, so this means that like also like a very like central like thing. So a lot of soft sheets, a clean house, nice food, all of this stuff like goes to nourishment, to emotional nourishment. Not just the conversation, but also like good food, like soft dresses, soft textiles, chocolate, probably. Okay, my time's over again. This is it. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for listening.